Money isn't everything, my friends. Trust me. Money doesn't alleviate your worries. I got guys writing in all the time. Guy just got an email from today, or maybe yesterday. He's got like $4 million, no debt. He doesn't spend that much. And he's worried. I'm like, man, I don't have $4 million. I got debt. And I'm always like, how are you worried? And I don't fault this guy. But don't think by, quote, arriving there with wealth, all of a sudden all your concerns go away. For some reason they don't. In fact, for some reason they might get worse. I've noticed this throughout my career. In fact, there's a lot of studies done that the South gives away a whole lot more money, not just per capita, but actually total amounts too, than the North does. Even though the South is incredibly poorer than the folks in the North. And I have a sneaky suspicion it has something to do with having money. It's kind of like, you know, the camel going through the eye of a needle. It's easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to get to heaven. And I think something has to do with that, is once you achieve a certain level of financial success, you become somewhat paranoid. So my man writes in, he goes, I'm worried about inflation, I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that. And for me, I'm just like, I don't get it. I mean, I've never had the fortune to have this worry. And I frankly doubt I ever will. And I don't know, man. I literally feel bad for these people. I'm like, dude, you got $4 million, no debt. You're healthy, you're relatively young. And he's like, what would you do? And I mean, for me, right here, well, you know how I feel about Wellington, but you got that kind of scratch. I don't know, put $1 million in cash, 2 million Wellesley, $1 million Wellington, something like that. Maybe $1 million in cash, 2 million in Wellesley, $1 million in VTI. I don't know, buy some farmland. I don't know, but I'm just like, just seems, I don't want to say manufactured, because you literally have, it's a legit concern. I get people writing like this all the time. I'm like, it's basically, it's an impossibility for you to sell all that, to spend all that money. So essentially you're going to guard it like Fort Knox. And it's going to concern you deeply. And most people are like, dude, I would kill to have your worry. That's what you think. I guarantee he thought that too, 15, 20 years ago. But now he's there, it's like, man, I'm putting words in his mouth, but I guarantee he's thinking, it's like, I did everything I could to get to where I am. If that money were to go away, all my years would be wasted, and I have to start back at square one. Dude, I get it, man. It's kind of like, why do I post my YouTube videos from Heritage Wealth Planning up on my other YouTube channel, Josh Scanlon? Because the idea of starting back at square one with no viewers, no subscribers, no revenue stream from it is horrible, man. You know, it's horrible. You're like, dude, I don't want to have to go back to the days where I go weeks with just a couple comments. You know what I'm saying? I know it's like people in my business, you know, they're successful, but they're no longer making sales calls. And you're like, I don't get it. Why are you not making sales calls? In fact, if anything, you should be making them now. Because now it's less, when you're successful, sales are easier, you think, because you don't care if someone says no. You're like, yeah, all right, I don't give a crap. I already got my money, my needs met. The best sales guy is a sales guy who doesn't care. He's like, look, I tell you what you should do, and you don't have to listen to me or not. It's on you. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to call you back. I'm not going to beg for your accounts. This is what I think you should do. This is how I charge. If you don't like it, go pound sand. I'm okay with that. And it's like, in our business, financial advisory, people get a certain threshold, and they just have this horrible thing of picking up the phone and making a basic sales call, even though they're already successful, because they think, I don't want to have to go back to that. And that's what my man here, I think, is in the same thing. A lot of wealthier people are. They're like, dude, look, I didn't mind busting my butt. I didn't mind taking the shots. I didn't mind looking like a fool while I was building. But now I've arrived. I cannot mentally go back and have to do that again. Whew, it'd be like me saying, I'm going to go back to basic training. You know, I went into basic training completely idiotic. And I was willing to look like the idiot because I didn't care. I was like, dude, I just got to survive. I literally don't care what people think of me. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to make enemies. I'm not here to impress anybody. I just here to survive. Because if I don't survive, there's nothing for me to go back to. And I was like, I could be the platoon idiot. I don't care. I just literally don't care. And so I was like, all right, people make fun of me. I don't care. I couldn't shoot to freaking save my life. Well, I didn't know. I never shot a rifle before. You know, then we figured it out, helping my drill sergeant, thankfully. You know, but people were like, Scanlon, you ever gonna hit anything? It's me and this guy Shinsky. We couldn't hit a freaking side barn if we're 2 feet away from it. But we both, you know, that's why you practice and you learn. Your drill sergeant tells you what you're doing wrong, and ultimately it sinks in. You know, Shinsky and I had to stay on the rifle range where everybody else was joking, smoking. We were still out in the rifle range because we couldn't qualify. That was embarrassing. But I wasn't all that worried about being embarrassed. I was worried about not qualifying and being sent out. So there's nothing for me to go back to. I can't have that. All right, so now I'm 51 years old. I'm financially doing well. The idea of going back in that and looking like a putz as a grown man with some real world experience and having some 18-year-old kid from freaking Beckley, West Virginia, showing me how to friggin' tear down a rifle. I couldn't do that, man. I couldn't do that now. I'd be like, I can't. I just literally can't do that because I got too much pride now. And to go back and do that would be debilitating to me. Obviously, if I had to do it, I would. You know what I'm saying? If that was the last straw I had, like I did when I was going in the Army to begin with. But my man here with his $4 million, it's like, I don't want to have to ever do that again. It's too painful for me to consider. And as such, I got to guard this like Fort Knox. I don't want to lose it. I'm willing not to take a huge rate of return, but I can't lose it. So what do I do? Well, that's the problem, because there's no right way to do it. And the sad thing is you're always going to be doubting yourself. First thing you have to deal with is you just have to get over this fear of missing out. I tell you, man, when you've got that big old nut and you're trying to protect it, the first thing you got to do is say, I don't care if Bitcoin goes to 1 million. I don't care. I got to protect the downside. So that means I have to get over any kind of FOMO, fear of missing out. Because I got to go FOGO, fear of getting obliterated. FOGO, not FOMO. Fear of getting obliterated, which means I might be a lot more conservative than I should be for, you know, a 55-year-old guy, but I don't give a rat's ass, pardon my French. $1 million cash, $2 million in Wellesley, $1 million in VTI. That's a freaking great portfolio. Should he do it? I can't tell him any of this. I'm just saying, if that were me, I'd say, all right, let's run and go. And people are always going to be sniping. Well, what about this? What about you? Like, dude, I don't care. I got enough money in cash to see me through for, I don't know, spending 50,000 a year. That's 20 years without any interest whatsoever. So even if the Wellesley goes down 40%, S&P or the VTI goes down 80%, I mean, my goodness, man, I'll be 75 years old before I even need to think about tapping into that. But what about this? You're like, dude, I get it. I get it. I could do better. I don't need to do better now. I need to avoid doing worse because I can't go back to basic training. I cannot be that stupid freaking private E1 from Silver Spring, Maryland, doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground, and is like literally the worst soldier that the Army had ever seen, who somehow was able to make a little bit of headway and actually get an honorable discharge. You know what I'm saying? Just by accepting the fact that I'm going to do what I'm told, and I'm going to hop in line And I'm not going to do more. I'm not going to do less. I'll just do what I'm told. And that worked. It's a challenge. Embarrassing on times, yeah. Will everyone ever say, man, that guy Scanlon was Audie Murphy? Hell no. I don't want to be Audie Murphy. I want to be Josh, survive in the Army so I could live a better life, which is exactly what happened. So my man here needs to be, Dave, whatever his name is, to survive a potentially debilitating fear of a market chaos. He says, all right, I got all bases covered. I've done the best I can. The rest in God's hand. Let's roll. That's what he should do. All right, we'll see you. Love to hear your thoughts.